Okay, let's talk about a perfectly competitive marketplace. Zoom in there a little bit. This is going to be the rest of the unit is about this. So if I were focusing on one thing, I'd really focus on knowing perfectly competitive firms really, really well. All right, so what is a perfectly competitive firm? Well, we just talked about it in the last video. It is a lot of firms, very small firms, selling an identical product. They're price takers. The price is determined by the marketplace because they have no differentiation, no incentive to really advertise, and no barriers to entry. Firms can enter and leave at will. Okay, so when we look at this, first we have to identify the profit maximizing rule. This rule is law in every single market structure. It doesn't matter if it's perfectly competitive or monopoly. You're still going to produce where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. If ever marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost, then you should continue to produce more until MR equals MC, because those are lost profits. If MR falls below marginal cost, you're overproducing. You're producing too much because you're experiencing losses when you don't have to. So reduce production to get back where MR equals MC. We're maximizing those profits. We also call this, we also call this the loss minimizing rule, because in the same way, sometimes, even at the best possible quantity, you're still losing money just because of the conditions of your firm. Right? So it's profit maximizing or loss minimizing. In other words, it's your best option no matter what the circumstances are. Okay, now whenever we look at an individual firm in the perfectly competitive, marginal revenue equals demand equals average revenue equals price. We call it Mr. Dark, right? Why is this the case? Well, first, the price is determined by the marketplace. They have no control over price. So price is not related to the quantity demanded for goods from this firm. It's determined by the interaction of quantity supplied and quantity demanded in the actual entire industry. So the firm has no control over price. As a result, they have to sell it at whatever price is being determined by the marketplace. So here, the price is $7. That's what's been determined by the marketplace. I have no control over that. If I sell any more than that, they can get that identical product for a lower price than what I'm selling for if I sell it for $9, for example. So I'm going to sell zero goods or services. If I try to sell below that, then the other competitors are going to have to reduce their prices. We're all going to lose revenue. So there's no incentive to do that because I'll lose profits as a result. So as a result, it's perfectly elastic. It is horizontal line because I have no other choice but to charge that price. But there are also other key elements in here. So why is marginal revenue a part of that? It's because the additional revenue is going to be the same. If my price is constant, then the additional revenue of adding one more unit is going to be the same as price. If I sell one unit at $7, my marginal revenue is $7. If I sell my second unit for an additional $7, my marginal revenue for selling the second unit is also $7, and on it goes, right? So by definition, marginal revenue equals price. Why is average revenue also there? Average revenue is also there because no matter what, it's increasing at a constant rate, right? So at 3, my quantity of 3, my total revenue is going to be $21. Then I take my total revenue, I divide it by the quantity I'm selling to get my average revenue, right? Total revenue divided by quantity. My average revenue is going to be 21 divided by 3. What's that? 7. My average revenue at 6, or let's do 7 because that's easier. 7 times 7 is 49, right? Total revenue is 49 divided by quantity of 7 to determine what the average revenue is. 49 divided by 7 is 7. So it's always going to be the exact same as price as well. And then finally, demand is tied to price here because nobody's going to demand it at a higher price, and I can't sell it for a lower price because we'll all lose profit. So it's perfectly fixed as well. Okay, so that's why it's Mr. Dark. Now, you're going to be given items like this where you have to identify profits and losses. You can look at the other videos for how to draw it and precisely calculate it. But here we're just going to talk about the calculations and steps to finding them, right? So we got a little bit of an advantage here because they're already color-coded, but let's talk about it. The first step that you're going to take is you're going to find where MR equals MC, right? That's always going to be at the intersection of the check mark, marginal cost, and Mr. Dark. Check mark, marginal cost, and Mr. Dark. That determines your quantity, right? And both of these, it determines our quantity. That is always where you start. You need to know how much you're producing because your quantity determines what your marginal revenue is, what your marginal cost is going to be, or what your average total cost is going to be. All of that's determined by the profit maximizing quantity. Because if quantity goes down, average total cost is changing, revenue is changing, marginal cost is changing. All of this change. Okay, so quantity is what you have to find first. So I know that at this one I'm producing a quantity of 9, right? Well, now I have to find total revenue. So that's step number 2 right here. I find total revenue. Total revenue is going to be your price times quantity. That hasn't changed in any of the units we've been going over this. Price times quantity is 9 times 7 or $63, my total revenue. Okay. Then I have to find total costs in order to identify profit or losses. So my total costs, I dash up until I hit ATC. That's going to give me my average total cost of this unit, which here is 5. So 5 is my average total cost. How do I find total cost? I take my average and I multiply it by my quantity. So my average cost is $5 per unit. My quantity is 9, so my total cost is $45. So I have $63 revenue, $45 total cost. What do? I simply take total revenue minus total cost, and that will give me my profit or my loss. So 63 minus 45 gives me a profit of $18, and it's indicated by the distance between total revenue and total cost. That difference right there, indicated by the difference between those two areas, is my profit. Okay, let's try out the other one, clear this out. The other one down here, there we go. The other one down here, so highlighted, we see our quantity is 7, our price is 5. And so my total revenue, first step by my total revenue is going to be 5 times 7 or $35. That's total revenue. Okay, so I've got this first part, 45. Or 35, sorry. 35. That's my total revenue. Now I dash up until I get to average total quantity. Notice it's higher than marginal revenue. That should already tell you have a loss, right? So way up here is going to be 6 times 7 or 42. My total cost is going to be ATC times quantity or 42. In order to find my profits, I take my total revenue, 35, minus my total cost, 42. And that's going to give me a profit of -7. In other words, I'm going to have a loss of $7. We can see that right here. It's also shown as the distance between my total cost and the area representing my total revenue, that box right there. Okay, to be able to identify that, and then notice whenever Mr. Dart falls below AVC, the answer is you should produce nothing, which is going to be my next video. Hopefully that made some sense, and we're done.